At age 61, I started my career washing dishes at Pizza Hut. No shit. Really. Mad Jack here from Something's Brewing. And that's exactly what happened. I got out of prison. My first job was at Pizza Hut. Couldn't find a job anyplace else. There wasn't anything around. It was going to take a guy who had no experience at anything for the last 10 years other than being an inmate. Had a lot of jobs in prison, but nobody cared about those. So that's what we're talking about. We're going to have a special series here on how to help yourself when you get out. And it's not just for former inmates. This is also for family members of former inmates. And the reason I say that is some of you guys and gals who are lucky enough to have a supporting family out there are going to need support too. And I'm not necessarily talking financially. I'm talking about dealing with you, because you can come out a little nuts. And maybe you're not. Maybe that made you mad I said that. But if you went in for a while, you come out, you're different. Can't help it, the way it is. I did a dime, 10 years, came out, I was different. I knew it right away when I got out. But let's talk about that when you get out. And this series is going to be about a couple things. The first one is the events that happen when you get out. The second one is going to be the agencies, the people who are supposed to help you. And the third one is the reality of who will help you, where you can find these things, and how to be successful in finding a place to live, finding employment, or starting a business, and just getting on with your life and your family and your friends. There's 4 big different areas there. And you know when you get out, you don't recognize a lot if you've been down a while. And I'm talking about 10, 12, 15, 20 years. If you've been down less than that, things would be changed too, but not near as much. When I came back to the area I was at, things were drastically different, and in certain areas. And other areas were just a dump and hadn't changed at all. But the thing I noticed was people had changed, as I said before in another video, but I had to find my way. I had a pretty good supporting family, so I had a little time where I stayed with my one daughter, but you can't stay there forever, so you need to go out and find your place. The first people you meet when you get out, probation. And probation guy, he's a pretty nice guy. He wouldn't need help at all. I mean, big thing was stay out of trouble. He came to see me later on periodically. He'd call me. They put an ankle monitor on you, and good luck. That's it. Go see these agencies on this slip of paper here, and they'll help you. Call in, so I let you go. Couldn't even go outside without calling in with the ankle monitor, so you're kind of hampered there. So I checked with the agencies, and the first thing I need to do is start making some money so I can get a place on my own. And what I found was the list of agencies, which I will be presenting to later as we go through them categorically. Some were trying to be helpful, but there was no money, or they didn't have the people to work, which goes with no money, or they really weren't even sure why I was calling them. So it's a confusing thing. The probation people, part of their job is supposed to be to assist you, and the way they assist you is by not trying to throw you back in prison or in jail if you get in trouble. That's it. That's the only help I've seen anybody get. Nothing else. Nothing. And so if that's the kind of help you're going to get there, you got to move on. The agencies, they're not much help either. If you have family and friends, you can maybe find out they might know some jobs out there, some things to do. Don't rely on your family and friends for money, and that you really need to start anywhere, because that reliance on family and friends is a dangerous thing for someone who's been relying on the federal government or the state government for a place to live and something to eat for a number of years. The difference when you get out from the time you're in, one thing I noticed is while you're in prison, this may sound strange, you really don't have a lot of worldly stress. And what I mean by worldly stress is you don't worry about taxes and the IRS or your license plates for your cars or gas or grocery prices. Is you ain't going anywhere to get any of that, and you ain't going anywhere to do any of that. You're stuck inside. So the price that the people pay, they take care of all your food and stuff through their tax money while you're incarcerated, and you just live this life inside as a waste of time. Once you get out, the reality is all that shit's right there. It never left. It's all right there staring right at you. And you're going to have to deal with all these things. So how are you going to pay for them? The job search. As I said, at age 61, I got my first job at Pizza Hut. This came through an old friend from high school who had a friend who was older and kind of disabled, worked at Pizza Hut, and a different Pizza Hut, and told me there was a job down there. He talked to the guy. She did. Talked to this manager for me. He said, yeah, come on down. I go down to Pizza Hut. I'd already applied several other places, no responses. Once you got down to that part, criminal history check, I didn't turn the applications in when I saw that. That was pointless because I got turned down twice. I'm not going to go through that again. After a while, it's a little hard on the brain. Back to Pizza Hut. I get to Pizza Hut, and the guy gives me a job. It's $8 an hour. That's all they're paying. I don't want to be a delivery guy. I ended up washing pans. Stayed inside. I didn't really have a car. It was worth a damn at that time. And so that's what I did. I worked at Pizza Hut. From there, I started kind of looking around, talking to people, finding about their jobs. You can call it networking, and I found a place, a small grocery store, right down the street, neighborhood grocery store, and I ended up getting a job there. Ended up working meat counter, stayed there for a while. And from there, I ended up going to a hospital, working in a hospital. So you see the progression from washing the pans to going to the hospital. No, I didn't wash bedpans. That would have been a strange progression, washing pans to bedpans. No, I ended up working in a warehouse. All those jobs came from that progression of my own, of talking to people and finding out what jobs are open, who take it. The hospital actually hired. They weren't worried about the criminal history. That one surprised me. And I kind of kicked myself in the butt because I could have applied to the hospital earlier. But who the hell would think a hospital would take you with a criminal record when some restaurants won't take you with a criminal record? Hell, there's a construction company wouldn't take me if you have a criminal record. Who would ever guess the hospital? Nice people. I got a job working, like I said, in the warehouse and receiving, and it's been pretty good to me. But go back to the beginning and the help I was supposed to get. My probation guy put me onto this agency who was supposed to help felons find jobs. And let me tell you how weird this is. So I was a federal inmate. And so as a federal inmate, I was supposed to talk to this guy, and he said, okay, I'm going to meet you at the probation office in this downtown Waterloo where I live. It's the state probation office. I told him, I'm a federal inmate. He goes, it doesn't make any difference. That's where I go. So, okay, so I go down and I meet this guy, and he asked me some questions. We do a resume of sorts, and it basically was about what I'd done in prison as far as jobs. And he goes, okay, well, I'm going to put this out, and we'll see what we can find, but your age is against you, and of course, the criminal record thing isn't going to help, which I thought was a weird comment from a guy who's supposed to be helping former inmates get a job. Your criminal record's going to be held against you. Doesn't everybody have a criminal record that sees you if that's your job? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, basically, I didn't hear from him again at all, ever. I even tried calling him, nothing. But an interesting sidebar in that story was, after I went down to the state probation office and met this guy as a federal inmate, I get a call from my probation guy about 2 weeks later, wanted to know what the hell I was doing down to the state probation office. And I said, do what you told me to do. Met this guy, and we did this. And he goes, we had no business down at the state probation office. And so he told me to meet him down there. But don't be going down there. Okay. So what am I supposed to do? Well, I don't care. Just I'll go down there. Click. That was my help. That's it. That's the help I got on the job there. Nothing from the guy I was sent to see, who took me to a place I got my ass chewed out for because it was a state probation office and not a federal probation office. Yeah, I know. That's how it doesn't work. So I made my way through it. I will say that the hospital job came up with word of mouth, and I did check Indeed, that app you can get on your phone if you can afford a phone. It's not a commercial for them. They're not sponsoring. They didn't send me flowers or a box of candy like that. But they did help me find what I was looking for, and verified it and told me what I need. Did a resume in there. Even got a couple of job offers after that. So there are possibilities out there. don't expect the public sector to help you much. A lot of cuts going on right now. They didn't have much money before. Probably got even less now. That's the first thing you have to deal with. You're going to need to find a place to work. The second one, finding a place to live. If you don't have relatives and you don't have a place to go, or you're not in a halfway house, that can be difficult too. You may start with a one-room place, anywhere you can afford to start with, but start, and look at it this way. At least you're not in the joint. You're out. That's the thing that drove me forward the whole time. At least I'm not in prison. I'm out. And that's what drove me that far. We're going to cut off right there for this time. Next time we're going to talk about the housing thing. And then we're going to go after the housing thing. We're going to talk a little more about the positive ways you can use some of the public agencies. There are some out there that can help you. But it might surprise you which ones they are. And then we're going to talk about the family interaction. Family, we're going to talk to you guys about some of the things that you can do to help your former inmate and loved one. And not just help them, but help yourself. Because it can be difficult dealing with someone that you used to know who came back as someone you might not know as well. And we're going to discuss that more. For people who don't have an inmate in the household or a felon in the household or in the family or in the family tree, if you don't, I don't know how you don't. There's so many of us out there. If you don't, listen in, because you're going to hear some things about the waste that goes to the government paying for things that never happen. Never happen. And you're getting charged for your taxes. I think I'm not here to hawk on that kind of stuff other than to let you know. You need to know what you're paying for. You ain't getting it. So next time, we'll go into some of that. I appreciate it. Come back in, because something's brewing. I'm Mad Jack.